The dusty road into Oberndorf am Neckar wound like a tired snake through the Black Forest hills. It was late summer 1879, and the air carried the sharp scent of pine mixed with wood smoke from the village chimneys. Most folks here spoke of harvests, beer, and the new railway coming south from Stuttgart. Few spoke of America anymore, except for one man. Jakob Heller had returned from the New World 3 months earlier, thinner than when he left, ice-shadowed like he'd stared too long into prairie fires. He carried a battered Stetson hat he'd bought in Dodge City, a cold peacemaker tucked under his coat, and stories nobody quite believed. The villagers called him der Amerikaner, behind his back, half in mockery, half in curiosity. Children ran after him asking if he'd really seen buffalo herds thick as locusts or fought Indians. Jakob usually just smiled thin and kept walking. He'd come home to the small farm his brother had left him when consumption took the older man. The fields needed tending, the barn roof leaked, and the loneliness sat heavy. Jakob spent his days mending fences and his nights sitting on the porch with a bottle of schnapps, watching the stars and remembering Wyoming winters. One October morning, fog thick as wool blanketed the valley. Jakob was splitting wood when he heard hoofbeats. Slow, deliberate. A rider emerged from the mist, tall, cloaked in a dark greatcoat, face hidden under a wide-brimmed hat not unlike Jacob's own. The horse was a sturdy bay gelding, lathered from a hard ride. The stranger reined up at the gate. Guten Morgen, the man said in accented German. Sind Sie Jakob Heller? Jakob lowered the axe. Bin ich. Wer fragt? The rider dismounted. When he pushed back the hat, Jakob saw a face burned dark by sun, sharp cheekbones, grey-streaked beard. The eyes were pale blue, steady. Name's Elias King, the man said, switching to English. But folks in Abilene called me Prussian Jack back when. Heard you were the German who rode with the Circle K outfit in 1976. The one who outshot Black Jack Ramsey at the Red Fork Saloon. Jakob felt his pulse quicken. He'd never told anyone in the village about Ramsey. That was a long time ago. What do you want, Kane? Elias glanced around the quiet farmyard. A place to lay low. Trouble followed me across the ocean. I need a week, maybe 2. I'll pay in gold, work the land, whatever you need. Jakob studied him. The coat hit scars. The way Elias stood favored his left side. A gunslinger running, no doubt. Jakob had run himself once. 1 week, Jakob said. No trouble in my house. Elias nodded. Fair enough. That first night they sat by the fire. Elias spoke little at first, but the schnapps loosened his tongue. He told of cattle drives up from Texas, stampedes under lightning, Comanche raids at dawn. Jakob listened, adding his own pieces. The blizzards that froze men in their saddles, the saloon fights in Laramie where a wrong word meant blood on sawdust. For the first time in months, the silence of the farm felt less empty. Days passed. Elias proved handy, stronger than he looked, quick with a hammer and quicker with a knife. He fixed the barn roof in half the time Jacob expected. In return, Jakob taught him the local ways, how to speak proper Swabian to the neighbors, how to haggle at the weekly market in Rottweil. Elias laughed at the strange sausages and dark beer, but he drank deep. Trouble arrived on the 5th day. A black coach rolled into the yard at dusk, pulled by 4 matched greys. 2 men stepped down, one short and broad in a city suit, the other lean, wearing a duster and twin revolvers. The short one carried a leather Sätschel. Herr Heller, the short man called in crisp German. We seek a man named Elias Kane. We believe he is here. Jakob leaned against the porch post, arms crossed. Nobody here by that name. The lean one smiled cold. We tracked him from Hamburg. He carries something that belongs to our employer, Herr von Richter, banker in Berlin. A debt. A large one. Elias appeared at the barn door, coat open, hand near his hip. tell Richter the dead died with my brother. I paid it in lead when his men burned our ranch in Montana. The short man sighed. Then you understand we cannot leave empty-handed. Jakob felt the old calm settle over him, the one that came before Gunsmoke. This is my land. My house. You turn around, or we settle it the American way. The lean man drew. Fast. But Elias was faster. His Colt barked once. The revolver spun from the man's hand, blood blooming on his sleeve. The short man yelped and dropped the satchel. Next one goes through the heart, Elias said quietly. The two backed toward the coach. This isn't over, the short one spat. It is for tonight, Jakob replied. The coach rattled away into the fog. Inside, Elias sighed heavily. They'll bring more. Richter doesn't forgive. Jakob poured 2 glasses. Then we wait. That night they planned. Elias sketched a map of the valley on an old newspaper. High ground above the river road, a narrow pass where the black forest pressed close. Like the ambush at Powder River, Elias sighed. Hit them hard, scatter them. Jakob nodded. But this ain't Wyoming. We do it clean. No dead if we can help it. Dawn broke cold. By noon, 6 riders came, von Richter's men, armed with rifles and purpose. They spread out along the road, cautious. Jakob waited on the ridge with his old Mauser rifle. Elias took the trees below, silent as any Apache scout he'd ridden with. The first shot cracked from Elias's position. A horse reared, rider tumbling. Jakob fired next, clean through a head, close enough to sting. Panic rippled through the group. Another shot from Elias dropped a second man from the saddle, wounded in the leg. The leader shouted retreat. They fled back toward the village road, leaving 2 horses and a blood trail. Silence returned. That evening Elias packed his saddlebags. They won't come again soon. Richter will lick his wounds. But I can't stay. Trouble follows me like a shadow. Jakob wetschet him ziemlich giert. Where to? Further east, maybe. Poland. Russia. Somewhere the bankers haven't reached yet. Elias paused. You could come. 2 old hands on the trail again. Jakob looked at the farm, the mended barn, the stacked wood, the quiet fields. Then at the horizon where the Neckar gleamed under fading light. I ran once, he said. Brought nothing home but ghosts. This place, it's small. It's ordinary. But it's mine. Elias extended his hand. Then keep it safe, Jakob Heller. And if men ever come asking for Prussian Jack, tell them he rode into the mist and never looked back. They clasped forearms, the way trail partners did. Elias mounted, touched the brim of his hat. Adios, partner. The bay gelding trotted down the road. Fog swallowed him. Jakob stood until the hoofbeats faded. Then he walked back to the porch, sat with the schnapps bottle, and watched the stars come out over Germany. Sometimes, late at night when the wind moved through the pines, villagers swore they heard distant hoofbeats and 2 voices laughing in a language half English, half forgotten frontier slang. But Jakob never spoke of it again. He just smiled thin, tipped his Stetson, and went on tending his land. The American in Oberndorf had come home. Not to escape the West, but to carry a piece of it quietly inside him, where no banker or bullet could ever take it away.